Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! So this happened when I was 14 or 15. My mother was married to a man who had an adult son from a previous marriage. I think he was mid-20s, he lived his hippie life, literally on the streets by choice. And about once a year or so he would hitchhike his way to our house with his friends, do copious amounts of laundry and weed, and generally just take over as if it was their house. They even left the gas burners on once because they forgot they turned the stove on. Anyhow, like any teenage girl, I was obsessed with my clothes. I had laundry sitting in a dryer, including these awesome corduroy pants I had only worn once. Step Bro and friends are doing laundry, and instead of doing something normal like moving my stuff aside or putting it in my room, they decide, oh man, it would be so dope to cut these up and make like a sweet cape. And so, that's what they did. I saw Step Bro wearing this cape and recognized the material. Are those my pants? I exclaimed.
They were in the laundry, man, you know, like finders keepers.
I was furious, and his dad wouldn't do anything about it. Mom was pissed because she had just bought these for me, and they were pricey. Mom didn't like this annual visit anyhow, but to keep her marriage, she put up with it. I wanted to get back at Step Bro, but he had nothing of value because of his lifestyle. Then I remembered I overheard my parents fighting, and my mom had mentioned Step Bro had got a girl pregnant. And the kid was like 2 years old, and he hadn't so much as given the girl a penny or even seen the child since it was born. So the next day my parents were at work, Step Bro is hanging out, listening to music or something, and I decided to call the cops. I wasn't sure what to say, but I told the dispatcher I knew of someone who might have a warrant out for failure to pay child support. Now, before you say how would a teenager know about that, well, my first father is a demon and was at one point nearly arrested for that same offense. The dispatcher asked the name of the person. I gleefully gave Step Bro's name, and they confirmed there was in fact a warrant out for him. I gave my address and waited. 20 minutes later, cops roll up, they knock and I let them in, and lead them right to him. He's right here, officers. I couldn't stop smiling. They cuff him and take him off to jail. An hour later, my mom called the house after Step Bro had used this phone call to call his dad, and I told her exactly what I did. She whispered, "Good job," but then pretended to loudly reprimand me as she was with Stepdad. Stepdad couldn't get the fine and bail money together fast enough, so Step Bro had to sit in jail overnight. Still makes me happy 20 years later to remember seeing him being taken away in a cop car. My mom luckily divorced that jerk and is now married to a very nice man. Edit. I've tried to read most of the comments, so I will answer all that I can. No, I never got new pants. Yes, he cut them off the legs and used them as the middle part with other fabric to make his cape. I think he tried sewing but may have turned to the hot glue gun. Dude was high like 24/7. As others said, this wasn't the only thing Step Bro did to me. He did many other terrible things, including tearing down my posters and accidentally lighting my comforter on fire. I was at summer camp, he was staying in my room without my knowledge, also letting my dog free like his dog was. And that's probably the worst thing he did to me personally, as doggos equal life. This was mother's third marriage. The nice guy she's with now is a force. So yes, we're all very dysfunctional. 20 years ago, the cops did tell you if someone had a warrant of that nature. Someone else pointed out that this is child support, so it's national. I don't know how the laws are now in terms of privacy. I don't know if my Step Bro is still alive or anything. I haven't seen him since that incident. After he was bailed out, Stepdad gave him some cash and he got out of town. I also hope the little girl turned out okay. Hello. This happened a while ago and I'm still surprised that these people exist. Some backstory. I'm a 13-year-old boy and look like I'm 11 or so. I was walking to my friend's house when this white Mercedes drove by me. Keep in mind that this is in a country, so seeing a Ferrari or a Porsche is a rare occasion. I keep walking when the car stops a bit in front of me and Karen gets out.
What are you doing out here?
I'm walking to my friend's house.
And where is that? Huh?
I don't have to tell you. This was wrong.
Why do you have that backpack then?
Because it's like an hour and a half away?
You're probably going to steal something or mug someone.
No, I'm not. Now go away. Again, wrong.
You're going to regret this. I will call the police on you.
Okay, go ahead. The police ain't gonna do anything.
How dare you talk to me like that, you little idiot?
Karen gets back into her Mercedes and she drives away. Well, that's that, or so I thought. I start walking again and see the car again, but this time with a cop car next to it. At this point, the "ah no, here we go again" meme is playing in my head as I walk towards the car like it's the final boss. The police officer says, "Hey you, please come over here." Okay, yes sir.
That's him. He attacked me. Arrest him, officer.
Did you attack this lady? No sir. She demanded that. She cuts me off.
Liar. I know you robbed someone.
The police officer now noticing my backpack and asks, "Can I see your bag?" Yeah, sure. I hand my bag over to the police officer. Do you have any weapons on you? Yes, but only four. I get cut off again.
See? I knew you had guns on you.
I only have a knife for self-defense in case someone did try to mug me. Please put the knife on the ground. I put a tiny little red Swiss Army knife on the ground. The cop tells me, "Oh, I thought you had a big jackknife for the like. You can keep it on you. Here is your bag by the way." He then turns to Karen and asks, "Why did you lie about a robbery, ma'am?"
Well, he's going to.
I was not. My friend can vouch for me. I then put my friend on speaker as I was in a call with him the entire time. My friend says, "If you robbed someone, I would know." See?
He's lying.
The cop says, "Sorry for holding you up. You can go now."
Don't let him get away.
Karen then scratches me so hard, it draws blood. That's it, Karen. Put your hands behind your back.
Why?
For assaulting a minor, that's why. And disturbing the peace and trespassing and assaulting a police officer. Oh, Karen also scratched up the police officer. Have fun in prison. P.S. Karen also had 2 warrants out for illegal drug trafficking and domestic abuse. This happened nearly 10 years ago, when I was a college student. February 2009, since I looked up records, can show months for proof. Throw away since I did some shady things to get revenge. Long one, hold tight. I was working full-time and going to college full-time. After my morning chemistry lab, I drove from campus up where I worked, only to realize my wallet was missing from my purse. I had used it that morning, but it was nowhere to be found. I called my credit card company and sure enough, there was a recent transaction at a local bar for a large tab. I think any normal person would have claimed fraud and called the rest of the wallet items a loss. I immediately called the police to report my wallet stolen either while I was in class or perhaps some other time during the day. The police told me to contact a different jurisdiction. School was on a reservation. Called the reservation police who told me that it's also not their jurisdiction since I wasn't sure the loss occurred on campus and I had discovered the loss elsewhere. Cue my frustration and the budding vengeance. I'm a people person and having worked retail operations for years, have a good sense of how to communicate with employees. I called a restaurant where my card was used and gave a description of the situation, along with the last digits of the card number. The luckiest part was that the woman on the line happened to be the server. She gave me some key information that she legally should never have provided to someone who was in the authorities, but I think my story appealed to her. She said the tab was so high because they left such a huge tab, and the guy who used the card said his girlfriend was treating him to lunch and drinks, hence the female name on the card. As well, he was with two people who paid for their own food and drinks with their own credit cards. I asked her for the name of that second card, which she gave up without thinking twice. If that wasn't shady enough, I took advantage of a customer database to find a phone number for the uniquely named non-stealing gentleman who paid for his own tab while dining with the thief. I built up the nerve to call the innocent guy a couple of days later, claiming to be a private investigator. I calmly warned that he would be considered an accomplice to the crime if he didn't provide the name and phone number of the person he ate with at that specific restaurant. He was nervous and did not want to help, saying that he should call his lawyer before talking to me. I told him as a private investigator, I would ensure he is not held accountable if he would cooperate, and he could only provide a name but no phone number. Without the thief's phone number coming up in their customer database, I turned to social media. The name pulled up a local private profile. At the time, Facebook allowed banners to still be visible, which, if I remember the stone age of Facebook, was basically a status. His status was complaining about a chemistry lab test that I too was about to take. I did not recognize his face, but I could now confirm it was stolen from the lab if my professor could ID his picture. I printed the Facebook page with his picture and status and brought it to my chemistry teacher. I explained the situation and he told me the student sat at the corner of my table. It all made sense now, because in chemistry lab, we put our bags and purses at the front of the class so not to contaminate them with whatever we worked with. And that was when he had stolen my wallet from my purse days before. Working with my professor, the campus police came in during class and arrested him. The best part? He was on probation for some other misbehavior and so was actually put in jail for this crime. I wasn't a part of the trial or anything like that, but I did explain my tactic to the reservation police, who patted me on the back. Oh, and I received compensation checks from his prison for like $2 each until my claimed $50 fossil wallet loss was remediated. As a much older person, I now hope he has his life together. I didn't remember much of him in class, but I was a very focused student. We all make mistakes, but his use seemed to be defined by a string of bad choices. Looking at his name in public records since shows he hasn't quite found the right path yet. When this story took place, I was just about to turn 14. I was going into my 8th grade year, and this would be my 4th and final year playing club lacrosse before the college recruiting process began. At the time, I had played for a club called RL. It wasn't the best club in the area, but I chose to play there for two reasons. One, I wanted to lead the team. I was good enough to be a second or third option on many other top-tier clubs in my area. I played defense, but I wanted to be a captain and have the responsibility of taking on the other team's first option. Two, the co-owners of the club were the head coach and defensive coordinator of the high school I was set to attend in a year. If I performed well with them in the club scene, I would have much higher chance of playing on the varsity team. Backtracking a little bit, I joined this club when I was 9, just before my 5th grade year. My club only ran during 2 seasons, summer and fall, with training sessions in the winter, but no actual competition. I never played the summer season for the club because I would go to a sport-oriented sleepaway camp to work on my skills over the summer. I also played football and swam. Yet I was always the #1 defenseman when I played, and my coach constantly lobbied me to play over the summer. I was politely declined. This is crucial information for the story to come. On to the story. About 2 weeks before the start of 8th grade, I went out for tryouts. I'd done this many times before. To me, it was a glorified practice. I would beat up on all of the newcomers in an attempt to see who would be the best fit for the team. I even got asked by my coach which kids were the toughest to defend. I felt fantastic and left the tryout as happy as could be. A week later, emails went out to parents about who made the team. I pestered my parents all weekend about the email, but it never came. This was unusual, but I understood the delay. Lots of kids tried out this time around, and they were probably having trouble weeding through them all. Finally, 4 days after the emails were due to be sent out, I received mine. It was a 2-sentence email from the owner of the program and the head coach of my town's high school team that I referenced before. It read, "We regret to inform you that your child has not made the RL roster for the 2015-2016 season. Better luck next year." I was crushed. I have put so much into this program. I have been the captain for the past 2 years. I couldn't fathom how this could have happened. In a panic, I called the only person I could think of, the other co-owner. He was technically not responsible for my age group, but he was a mentor to me. He was a defensive coordinator that I previously mentioned and had been grooming me to be his star defender for years. What he told my parents and I made me sick. "I've got some bad news," he said. "Joel, the other owner, got fired as a head coach of X high school. I'm taking his place. He's hard on money right now, so he only rostered kids who were willing to pay to play fall and summer ball. I'm so sorry. I'll see what I can do to get you on the team." After hearing this, I declined his offer. I no longer wanted to play for Joel. I never wanted to see him ever again. 1 year later. By this point, the coach who I talked to on the phone, Marcus, had started his own program, and I happily accepted the first captainship in the team's history. I was now playing summer ball for Marcus, and our first tournament was rapidly approaching. It was the summer of 2016, the summer before my freshman year, and I was fired up. This was my first time back in the club circuit since I've been caught, and you wouldn't believe the first team we played. Marcus versus RL was the kickoff game of the tournament. I took the field, matched up against all of the boys that I had led just a year ago, and I was pissed off. I think my stats in that game were something like 12 strips, 8 bulls battled, 2 assists, and a coast-to-coast goal. The best stat line in my career to this day. We wiped the floor with my old team, 17-7. I received the game ball, hyped up on adrenaline and freshly renewed rage. I stormed over to RL's tent, where all of my old teammates remained and getting debriefed by the coach. I interrupted, walked over and shook Joel's hand. I congratulated the team on a hard-fought battle, thinking I must have forgotten Joel treated me like a returning hero. "So, Jay Brownie, anything else you want to say to the team? It couldn't have gone more perfectly." Delightedly, I told my teammates as well as the parents, coaches, and other age groups of RL exactly why I traded my RL jersey for a Marcus one. I watched with glee as the color drained from Joel's face. I shook my friends' hands, invited them to tryouts for next season's Marcus team, and walked away. At the next tryouts, I learned from my former teammates who had defected to Marcus that Joel had spiraled out of control. As more and more talent left the team, he became more and more erratic. He stopped paying the bills for the turf lights, he showed up to practice drunk and worked the kids that remained into the ground into an attempt to make them ready to destroy Marcus the next time RL played us. RL shut down less than 6 months after my speech. The coaches had quit, the talent had left, and the money had long since dried up. I remain a captain of Marcus, and I'm now a starter on the high school team he was fired from. As for Joel, I monitored him closely. He recently lost his house, picked up his third DUI, and is actively serving an 18-month sentence in a state penitentiary. I was at the Walmart deli counter ordering General Tso's chicken. A woman and her teenage daughter approached from my left side and acted like they were going to nudge in front of me, which I thought was rude, since there was already one person in line behind me. The mom asked the employee preparing my food,
Where is the popcorn chicken?
I said, "Oh, it's in a hot bar up front, in front of self-checkout." She gave me an exasperated look before replying,
I don't want to buy it. I want it to munch on while I shop.
Seemed like a bold thing to announce, but you do you, honey. I then asked the employee to bag up for chicken tenders, at which point the mom made a snotty comment about, can you believe it? Ordering for chicken tenders? So rude. Taking up so much time that made me feel really spiteful. Oh gee, Mr. Dilly Guy, you have macaroni available? I would love a big container of that. And you all know how important it is to carefully scoop the macaroni, so the sauce doesn't dribble everywhere. The teenage daughter piped up.
We should have brought your water, Mom.
Her mom said,
I know, I'm so thirsty. You don't just want my popcorn chicken. How long is this gonna take? Sheesh!
A second deli employee ambled over with a full pan of potato wedges. Golly, I think I would like some of those too. The mom exclaimed,
Oh heck, this is ridiculous. Let's just go.
And they stormed off. I guess I suddenly have enough food in my cart now. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.